This webinar is the 3 little known ways to get more clients and deeper impact when you do get the clients. Okay, the first point I want to make is how to get deeper impact with clients. And then the second and the third points are going to be how to get clients. One of the things that really helps people is you have to embrace the wholality, the wholeness of the person. Okay. What do I mean by that? When you look at the whole person, you have a cognitive element, their thinking, their belief system. You have, I could call it a spiritual element, their soul, their energy, their connection to something bigger than themselves. You've got a biochemical, and obviously you've got their body.
Which is biochemical.
Which is kind of biochemical. But this is more about hormones and chemicals and neural pathways in the brain and all of that kind of stuff. So when you take the whole person, fundamentally, we've broken one system up into many. And really, we are just spiritual beings. We're pure energy having a human experience. But when you zoom in to the human experience, we've got all of these wonderful facets, like lots of colors in one rainbow. When I worked with just the cognitive, I got results, but there's many people I couldn't help, or I couldn't really go that deep with them. When I just worked on the spiritual, they could have wonderful insights and expansive experiences, but their head would really self-sabotage their life. I could keep going around. When you work on a part of a person, you're not working on the whole. Now, what we found, and I'm going to give you loads of resources on this, so we're just going to really breeze over this very quickly, is we were missing this element, the body. And in fact, the last webinar we did last Monday was purely about this. I'm going to send you a link to the recording, so we're not going to go into detail here. What I found from having an accredited training academy for 15 years, working with over 5,000 clients and having hundreds of facilitator students go through the academy, is when I started working with the soma, the body, our somatic literacy and body awareness, those people that I couldn't help last time, or those people who kept regressing, or those people I couldn't get deep results with, I now could. In fact, I'm going to pick on Elise. Elise, I just noticed Elise is here. Elise is a current facilitator student.
It started when I listened to your webinar about trauma is not just your thinking. That set me on a journey where I had an experience where my friends used to try and get me to sit with feelings in the body. Couldn't do it. I just wanted to talk. So then I come to the program, have my one-to-ones, and I learn about the connection between the mind, body, brain, all of it. Before then, I lived above here, but it was as though there was stuff here and I just kept pushing it down. So something would come up, you eat something, you do that, oh, I'll meditate for a bit. It's just thinking, and you push it away. And when I got guided into being with the body through the modules, through learning, through the one-to-ones that I've had with Jules, I can honestly say where I am now, I have so much love and compassion for myself. My relationships with my immediate family have transformed, where I understand things about them I never knew. But I had to show up like this. But I've just found myself, without consciously doing anything, working differently with clients. I've got one lady who's worked with me since 2009. And every few years she comes back and we work. And she shifts, but not like she has now. Her money's changed. The work she's doing has changed. She's got rid of her social anxiety. It's just everything. Everything has shifted. It's as though I was trying to get through life, just hopping around on one leg. And now it's like, oh, I had another leg, so I could actually use that. It's just simplified everything. If anything, they've taken away a lot of the crap that was there. When you do the program, you start to change from within. And before you know it, you look back and you think, wow. And I thought that was good. But it's all of me. I love the ups, I love the downs. All of it is okay. And before I had peace. But if someone said, do you love yourself? Do you love your life? No. But that's probably just thinking, that's probably this. Now it's like, no, I do. But I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, I own it all. So this allows you to embrace all of you, even the stuff that maybe you think, well, you know what, I don't like that, I don't like that. You love all of it. Doesn't mean you don't keep growing. But I just can't say enough. I just cannot say enough. It's what was missing, and I just love it. And Rudy and Jules, you're just angels. You've got the biggest hearts. You really have. Sorry, that was more than a minute.
Oh no, that's really good. It's very hard. It's easy to talk for an hour, but given 1 minute, that's a skill. So you did great.
Oh.
Thank you so much. So I've put a link in the messenger there. That goes into more detail about the working, including the body when you work with other people. I mean, there's like, I don't know, 3 hours of footage there free for you guys to watch to go deeper into that. But fundamentally, I mean, thanks for selling the program, Elise. Fundamentally, what the message I want to bring from Elise to you guys is that self-love.
Yeah.
Within the inevitable ups and downs
Absolutely.
of life, is unconditional acceptance of all of it.
Mm.
And that's very hard to achieve when you've got bodily sensations coming up, creating thinking. Anyway, watch the resources. So number one, to get deeper impact with your clients, fundamentally, you need to see them as a whole being. They're not just heads with cognition. They're not just bodies. They're not just spiritual. They're not just biochemical. There's a wholeness, hence why we called it wholality. There's a wholeness of being with people.
Yeah.
And if you're missing a part of it, then you're missing a potential deeper result with your clients.
Right.
Okay.
And we just weren't taught.
No.
As a nurse, and even in, my master's, that I wasn't taught. It was very much cognitive centric. And there's a wave finally coming in, reshaping psychology. So there's a wave off in the distance. I can see it. But really bringing this to the forefront, the messages and the gifts that the body has, they're subtle, but it's like we're one whole system. We're not compartmentalized. It's one whole system, like a coffee pot. We focus on the coffee because it's very clear. It's what feeds us. But there's so many different features, so many different important features that go into brewing the coffee. There's so many important features that go into what arises in the cognition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Hanny.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to say anything that you made little notes? I didn't know if you wanted to say anything before we move on.
Yeah, it's just it's a biopsychological approach, just to talk what Alice was talking about. It's a biopsychological approach. It isn't merely body. It isn't merely cognition or psychological. It's the two, understanding the subtle messages that are always present, always there, asking to be heard, looked at. And when we can do that, it changes our life. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, thanks, Hanny. Okay, so again, that link in the chat goes into much more detail, and we've got an interview with a world-renowned trauma specialist who's done 400 research papers on working with trauma and how that whole thing works within us.
He's leading the wave.
So have a look at that.
Yeah.
Number two, this is kind of more now about like how to get more clients. Right. There's lots of ways to get more clients. And whoever you speak to will have an opinion. Like, do paid ads. Paid ads are the way. Don't do social media. Social media is rubbish. You have to do paid ads. Other people like, don't spend money on paid ads. Get a good following, get a big social media thing going. Everyone's going to have a different opinion. So we're just going to briefly say what has been helpful for us, but that doesn't mean it's going to be helpful for you. You have to find your own way. Very briefly, okay? And then I haven't told you my second point yet. I'm going to unpack this first. There's lots of ways to get clients. Word of mouth. Oh, it's fantastic. If you're doing something that is impactful, people will recommend you. And it's great. You don't have to pay people. You don't have to cajole them into your training. They're just going to go. I don't know. So Fiona there did a one-to-one with Jules, and it changed everything in Fiona's life. And then she tells Kristen and Justine, oh my God, everything's changed for me. Like Jules is getting referrals without advertising, without paid ads. So word of mouth is fantastic. Now I could go through all of these, but we don't have time. We're trying to do it quickly, but social media campaigns, paid ads, write a best-selling book, guest podcasts, free stuff, upsell, SEO blogs, follow up on old clients. Now, if you were like going to join our training or anybody's training, you'd want to either have a conversation with that person, or at least you want to be going on webinar so you get a feeling for that person. Now, the link I just sent you is to 3 free videos, but when you look at it, it's got facilitator training and view more products here. So on the free stuff, there's a paid stuff.
It's called cross merchandising.
Free stuff, we found great. Social media campaigns, we stick something on YouTube and we put it on Facebook, and it gets 4 or 5 times more views on social media than it will ever do on YouTube. So there's certain things you can do. Now, my point is if you do 1 or more of these to get more clients, this is point number 2. You have to have tech skills. If you think, and I'm going to be a bit kick-assy, if you think all you need to do is just have a nice insight and then everything will be rosy, I mean, there's a little bit of truth in that. Insight can lead you in a direction and people can feel the inspiration in you. But if you're not visible, people can't find you.
Yeah.
Can people book you on your website? Can people hear you talk about what you do? You have to have tech skills. If you're a coach, you want to get more clients. It's an immutable law that you either have to have tech skills or lots of money that you can pay someone else to do it for you.
Right.
Now, most people don't have lots of money just lying around to get someone else to do it for them. So if you're a coach and you want to get more clients, you have to learn and develop your own skill set. Even if you've got a website, you need the skill set of being able to get visible. Okay. I'm not trying to depress you, but it's true. You can't, people can't find you if they don't see you. For instance, if you were doing a course or you were doing a coaching package, say, whatever you're offering, okay, if you had 100 people in your following, in your social media, in your email campaigns, and say you only got 1 out of 100 people joining you, okay, so you're going to get 1 out of 100 people. That's only one person that's not going to pay the rent. However, if you've got 10,000 people, how much is that? That's 100. I'm terrible at maths. All of a sudden, you've got like 100 people joining you. So it's like the more visible you are, the easier it is to make money. You have to invest in your skill set if you wish to get bigger and more known. You have to get over your technophobia.
Yeah.
If you're technophobic, or I'm not very good with this stuff, make yourself good at it. It's not an excuse by saying you're technophobic or you're not very good with technology. You're not very good with technology because you haven't learned how to use it. So I'm going to be a bit kick-ass again. You have to get over your own belief system and get good at technical stuff if you want to get clients. Okay. Okay, so number 3, you have within you the innate God-given gift of vibration. When you match the vibration you want, it will appear, or rather, it's always been there, but you'll be guided towards it in your everyday life.
So everything that ever was and ever will be is present in this moment in its potential at any given time. And we, as I talked about last time, there's destructive interference and constructive interference. When we work through whatever is being held in the body and match that with our cognition, we are freaking powerful beings. You take that and you add tech to it, tech skills to it, there isn't anything that you can't do. It is amazing, and it's all right here. It's incorporating your wholeness, the wholality of your expression. And yeah, I've been waiting for that one, Rudy.
Okay, I've put another link in the chat. It's called Marching Metronomes. And basically what it is they have 100 metronomes, you know, those things that do that. And they're all going at different paces. And within 4 minutes, they're all matching. There is this underlying universal, systematic, fundamental energy of life that wants to match, come into harmony. And if we, I don't know, if say Amy there with a beautiful background, if Amy wanted to get 10 more clients, for instance, or what Amy wants to do, if you imagine it, and I'm going to build on what I mean by imagine, having 10 clients as if it's already happened from a heart space, because a heart has a 5,000 times greater magnetic field than the brain. So you could think it's not going to do much, but when you feel it with your whole being, you are literally matching that reality in a physical form.
Right.
Example, when I jumped out of the 3 principles field and started Wholality, like, what the hell is Wholality? No one knew what I was doing, what it was all about. How could I possibly feel a facilitator training? So guess what? We used point 2, our tech skills, okay, a collage of those back behind there, and we heartfelt imagined with emotional intensity that we've already got, I don't know, however many wanted, 20 people. Twice now we've booked the facilitator training out within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just with 2 weeks, because we're using these 2 of the 3 that we're mentioning. And obviously the third one we use when we have people. But as far as getting people, we used our technical skills in the form and this formless energy we have within us. We are linking the form and the formless. It's all really one non-thing thing.
Yeah, we're utilizing our body as a transducer, a relay, if you will. And it is, again, I spoke about it on the last webinar, but it's the constructive interference when the body is in tune and congruent with the thoughts that you're thinking. That is key. And that is where the power is. That is where it magnifies to some squared algebraic equation that I don't know, but it's quite impressive.
So I'm going to put another link in the chat. So that is a link to our facilitator training page. I'm not actually putting that in to sell it. Have a look at the tech skills needed to create that page. The tech skills needed to create and edit the videos. Okay, the tech skills needed for the downloadable PDFs. The tech skills needed to put it into a page. We couldn't just have an insight of oneness and the page would appear. We had to build that page.
Right.
Okay, so that's the tech skills. Okay.
And so Rudy's a professional videographer, photographer, and I have a bachelor's in marketing. And so I have a marketing degree where I worked for a Fortune Forbes 100 company for about 10 years and take that with us. And so it's so huge. It's such a benefit. But this and all of this beautiful creative love vibration, that we are all these biochemical electromagnetic plasma-like beings moving through this earth. I mean, there is so much potential. We just need to realize it, see it, sense it.
Yeah. So in the videos, and you can look at it in the break, from that link, you can see the point number one, the depth of deepening clients' experience. It comes across in the videos of those guys that you watch.
What impact has it had on me? It gave me back to myself. To the point that I'm okay right here in this moment.
So point number one is very present in the video testimonials. Point number two is present on that page because the tech skills needed to create it. And point number three is that we haven't officially launched the next facilitator training. We're going to do that towards the end of the week. But when we do, we generally book it in 2 to 3 weeks. We get the whole thing full. Because of those 2 points, and the third point, this is Jules's quote, you are creation. You're not connected to creation. You literally are creation with the power to create. Okay, you're a microcosm of the macrocosm. You have the same powers in an individuated way of the whole, but you need to be conscious of that power within you. And to me, an increase in consciousness is an increase in body awareness. It's an increase in being conscious of your innate gifts. You're conscious that you're a creative being. It's all about an increase in consciousness. And that's kind of what we do our best to share with our students.
Yeah.
So 3 points. Number one, work with their wholeness, not their partness, their wholeness. And the lovely Elise basically said she's okay within the ups and the downs. So we're not talking about transcending anything here. We're talking about embracing all of ourselves, including the gritty stuff. Okay. Number two, I know you don't want to hear it and it's not very pretty, but you really need to have technical skills, guys. If you want to get out there, if you want to get visible, if you want to get clients, you have to be wealthy and get someone else to do it for you. If you haven't got $1 million in the bank account, you need to know that stuff yourself. Okay. And number three, you are powerful creative beings. Sometimes I want to just get people and shake them and say, do you know how powerful you are? Augment, leverage that innate, systematic, universal presence within yourself to match the resonance of what you want to create.
The more you go in to the body, the more you understand the depths of all that you are, not who you really are, all that you are, the more expanded you can see. And you see that everything that ever was and ever will be is present in this moment in its potential. And it's just a zooming out, and the gift of zooming out is an organic, emergent process that comes from going in to the body, into the depths, and understanding what it's saying. It softens our whole human experience. And in doing so, we see more.
Yeah, one quick example. When I went within, I asked the question, how can we get people in our training? And in the depth of presence, it arose and it said, you have to authentically tell people what you're doing.
Yeah.
So we did the webinar, Why Trauma is Not Just a Thought. Okay. That was very controversial at the time and still is within a certain field. We got about 6 people enrolled in our facilitator training from watching that webinar. So what will happen, this inner wisdom will give you information to create what it is that you want. You have to keep being aware of that information. I call it following the breadcrumbs of the universe, but there's this communion with the God within, with that wisdom within. And when you get more literate at hearing and acting on it, it really does create miracles in your world. You can't think your way into it, but you can sense it.
Absolutely.
And it will talk to you, and it has always been talking.
It's always been talking to you. Absolutely.
So part of what we do is literally help people be able to have a more sustainable, consistent communion with the wisdom within themselves. It's outside of any understanding. I'm not talking spiritual healing or non-duality or three principles. It's a fundamental, innate source within all of us.
Right.
Get rid of any teachings, any books, any teachers. It's within you, and all you need to do is learn to commune with it, and it will guide you.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a lot of talking. I want to have a 5-minute break so you can turn your cameras or audios off, and we would love you to just sit, reflect. If there's anything that's come up for you guys that you want to ask a question, if you want to comment, if you want to go deeper into one of the 3 points, put it in the chat in this 5-minute break. And welcome back. We've had lots of yeses. Sally.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Sally.
It's good to see you.
Makes sense, all of it. Thank you both. Can you recommend or create for us a suitable basic tech course, please? Smiley face. Yes, Sally, we've actually already created one, but it's not for sale just yet. We will be putting it up for sale pretty soon. In fact, we'll probably do it as a membership, so you can pay just something per month, not very much. You can access it while you're paying. We're just working through that now.
Right.
So we have, Sally, and we go over everything that you need to know in there. So
it's not basic. It's pretty in depth.
It is very in depth.
Very in
depth.
It
takes you step by step from the basics into the intermediate to the more advanced in lots of different areas. It's a really big comprehensive product.
It's what our facilitator students get.
Yeah, it's what our facilitator students get. And I literally just had the thought today, maybe we should make this available for non-facilitator students. So in the process.
Yeah.
You talked about the whole of body, mind, and spirit, and that it's most impactful to address all these aspects of our work with clients. I heard about this trinity before. What is different or deeper when you point towards wholality?
Beautiful question.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Sebastian. Do you want to talk, or shall I waffle?
Well, it's with the movement of energy, it's bottom to top. It's a focusing and an awareness. Actually, I just call it placing your loving awareness on the sensations and impulses from the body. Understanding, yes, of course, there's mind, body, spirit, but the focus seems to be cognitive centric. And that's where people get tripped up. That's where people come and they're hurting. Their hearts are hurting. Their hearts are aching. They don't understand how to get rid of these busy minds. You know, it just keeps arising. And so when we take a step back and we understand how the energy moves, and now with Dr. Porges, how the movement of physiological movement of energy, we can see it a little bit better. We can catch it a little bit sooner, and everything just kind of fits into place. It's kind of like trying to fix the coffee at the level of the coffee by adding sugar, water, when really, if we look deeper down this one whole system, the way it moves, put the water in the back and then it moves through the whole system, we can embody self-love, self-compassion, and in doing that, and self-awareness, in doing that, when we see the depths of in our whole being, we hold space for others just that much more. It's deeper. It's deeper. It's not as simple as mind, body, spirit. It's not as simple. It's very compartmentalized. You'll see out there, it's very compartmentalized. This is one whole system. We are biochemical, electromagnetic, plasma-like beings that move and interact on an energetic level. We resonate to and fro. Resonatia, the Latin term, means to echo. There are so much. I mean, I don't know, I could go on and on. I do not have enough time for this right now, but I would love to continue this.
So what happens is many understandings, and this is just the nature, are almost there but not quite.
Yeah.
So what happens is you do this thing, it's great in the soma in the body, and this one is really great because it looks at your spiritual essence, and this one's really good because it is an understanding of how the mind works. And so what people do, they kind of do all these separate things to try and get a whole picture.
Right.
And some of them don't, like, you know, like 3 principles of non-duality, that they don't mix very well. Or looking at the body and all of the soma work, and then the law of attraction. Well, how do those fit together? So there is this fragmentation.
Yeah, it's
now
right.
With wholality, we look at fundamental underlying forces, and the teaching is fundamentally the same whether you look at how to consciously create our energetic intuitive beingness, the way the mind works. Like, there's this wholeness within all of these realms. It's a little bit like if you pick up a book, the main protagonist, the main character, is a link between all the chapters. It kind of links the whole book together in a linear way. A lot of understandings can be like completely, like, this chapter is sci-fi, then all of a sudden you go to a rom-com, and then the third chapter, well, that's the thriller. So there's this incongruency. With wholality, you've got the main character, the wholeness of being, running through all these seemingly separate things like mind, body, spirit, heart coherence, intuitive expansion, the way the mind works. There's this grounded main character, wholeness of being, running through all of them, that all unify. So that's what I would say to that. I know that's a metaphor, and that's like a bigger conversation.
It's one whole exquisite, holistically with a W, human in its wholality.
So in the wholality Facebook group, obviously it's free, and we actually keep posting loads of videos. So have a look at that Facebook group. It's a place for you to carry on the conversation, keep coming on the free webinars, and yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you guys further. We hope this is helpful. We try and do this quickly.
I know.
And we can't go into great depth on anything because we're trying to do quite a lot in the time that we've got with you guys. And at the end of the day, throw it all away and come back to love. Throw everything we've said away and just come back to the commonality of all of us as one being. And when we see our commonality, all the crap that's happening in the world isn't going to happen. It's the symptom of a sense of separation, a sense of difference causing this stuff in the world, and always has been causing stuff in the world. So final message is, you are a whole, powerful being. The more you embody and realize that yourself, the greater your impact will be, not just with your clients, but in the world at large. So, powerful beings, we love you. And we'll look forward to seeing you maybe next Monday. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.